for this year, year's over. So how much have we paid USW?
I can't tell you right now.
You should be able to.
No, you can't.
We have 11.
I can't tell you. I can get you that,
Uh-huh.
but I don't have it right in front of me.
No, I'm saying.
USW is not a separate line item. USW is a part of the line item that you see on the Public Works on page,
13.
no, page 40, excuse me, page 16. If you look at repairs and maintenance, the $483,000 that we spent for the year. We haven't paid all that, but that's what it amounts to.
So so
that's not all USW. I can give you the detail that makes that up by simply bringing forth to you the detail of that account.
Mr. Johnson, how much have we received from TML in insurance claims for lift stations and stuff like that?
$90,618.
Okay, now a lot of that was the
Goes
work
toward
that
that.
USW did.
That's right.
Some of it they incurred, and we paid them, but we got almost 100,000 of it back. We also have
We're
funds.
still looking for some more funds.
Is that figure in here?
What figure is that?
90,000 that we got back from
Yeah, go to page 16. Look at insurance claims.
Okay. Yeah, the question that
Mhm.
you said in repairs and maintenance. So we paid 483,000.
Right,
And then to date, and then in the base rate we paid. Their base rate is 39,000 for USW. If you look at two
Right.
lines above.
Right, that's right. That's the base rate.
So for USW, the only two line items they should be under is USW and repairs and maintenance. Is
That's
that
right.
correct?
That's correct.
They're only under two line items.
That's correct. And if you all want the detail of repairs and maintenance, I can give you. I can give you the detail of any account on here.
The other thing.
All y'all have to do is ask me, and I can give it to you.
For the benefit of council, just last week, USW closed out one of our FEMA reports with FEMA. So there's revenue coming from FEMA, and we're not sure how much. So all of that, some of that is what we paid for repairs that's reimbursable because of Hurricane Harvey and things like that. So I just saying, we can't look at it in a vacuum because FEMA, just like TML, is not an insurance, but again, we've got some damage money coming back from that process.
But when you
We
look
just
at
don't know how much.
When you look at our total, we're negative in public works, and we continue. So the reason about USW was just one of the points, but there's multiple points on what runs public works. We are negative 6 figures in public works, and I just was focusing on one of our main points, but we're over, and so I know public works is supposed to cover itself. And so we still don't have a plan on what we're going to do to make sure that we continue to move to start covering ourselves. And I know it's not an easy fix. It's not something that just happens tomorrow. But again, these are some of the things that help us move forward.
Mr. Johnson, don't I recall we were negative in public works for years?
We've been negative for years. That's why Public Works owes general fund.
I know this.
That's not, what he's saying is, we've been in negative for years.
Right.
At some point, a plan needs to be created.
And we have a plan. Look at your budget. The budget that you just got, look at your budget. We do have a plan to pay back. Jill administration, go to the first page of your budget. I have one with me. And look there, and you'll see the payback debt for general fund. That's the plan for this year.
Well, yeah, we're talking about the long-term plan to where we don't have to take money from general administration to fund. We're saying what's going to be the long-term.
Okay.
And it's not a question for you. What he's saying is we need to develop a plan so at some point public works will be self-sufficient as it's supposed to, so we won't have to take money from here and then use it, then have to pay that money.
And part of that plan is what you had here tonight. The major problem we got in public works is sewer. That's your major problem, is sewer. But that's not going to be your only major problem.
Right.
Because going forward, you got all these old lines in the ground.
Right.
And you also got another major problem. You got the water line running under US 290 going from the, to the university. And if it breaks tomorrow,
Well, it's already broken.
So,
you look at a hell of a
once again, Councilman Rowland brought this up right now, but it's not a discussion for right now. He's just putting this point in the air, but, I mean, that's not a finance question, it's a administrative question as far as how do we move forward as a city as far as making, public works self-sufficient.
How much are we in negative in public works, Mr. Johnson?
if you look at,
Just ballpark.
oh, we can look at, we have the ballpark, it's right here.
Okay.
Let's look at page 14, Public
Okay.
Works. Look at the debt.
160 something?
We owe, for wastewater treatment, 251,000 plus add to 438, that's right under there. So that's 700 and some $1,000.
Okay, minus
That's
the,
negative.
Yeah, no, that's what you owe. Look at page 14. You owe the 251 under accrued wastewater treatment, and then you owe the wastewater treatment payable of 438. Those two, plus, that's not all. Go down, that's short term, look at long term. Payable to add the other 87,000 to it, that'll give, add 251, 438, and 87,000, that'll give you the total.
And that's what's negative.
That's right.
Correct. And so I'm simply.
That's owed to university.
Correct. That was part of why Trilogy came to do the presentation. My conversation is twofold. One, financial, but also administratively. How do we set up, what are we going to do moving forward to be able to speak to short-term, some of the short-term and long-term debts? The mayor just talked about something that happened last night. Last night's expenses are not in this budget we're looking at. That's already over. And I'm saying, since the mayor just talked about those things that he just experienced last night, when is the mayor, when are we financially and city council going to come together and start putting together a plan like we've been asking for to long-term look at? There's other things as outside of what we're talking about, robbing Peter to pay Paul. There's bond opportunities. We did a bond 7 years ago. That's how we built this building.
Then we just refinanced it.
And
Why
so,
not have a workshop where we discuss it?
Yeah.
Because the plan doesn't.
Right now, yeah.
We're not gonna figure out the plan right now.
Right. All this, you can't see, you're touching on what you want to plan. We need to sit down and have a workshop.
hold up, when does council want to have a workshop? Because sewage is under council's purview, so when do you want to have a
We got
workshop?
one workshop planned already, so we need to get this other workshop out of the way and then do
Okay.
the next workshop.
Okay, anything else, Mr.
I
Johnson?
don't have anything else.
Okay.
Mr. Justin, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I know that after the end of our budget cycle, some trees that need to be cut on the street in which buses go by there, then that citizens have to complain about it for at least that time. I don't know if this is a question towards you or directed towards the mayor. Was funding spent to take care of the issue?
Okay, you're in a new budget cycle now.
Yeah, I'm saying at the end of the last.
I know, and money doesn't roll forward. This is what you guys can do. If you want to use prior money, if you want to use prior funds, as opposed to funds in your current budget. What you shaking your head, what do you?
Because my question was,
What's that?
Ron Glover came up a couple times and stated a problem. And so what we had as council, and what I had asked was that the mayor take care of this issue, being that we was at the end of the budget, being that we couldn't vote upon this issue. It was the last city council meeting before the end of the budget, so all I was asking was that issue rectified?
No.
Oh, I guess no. I didn't quite understand.
you said, so
Didn't we approve for the action to take place last budget cycle,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So that means the funds can still be used, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's
we've
gotta
already
be-
approved for the
It's
action.
got to
Gotta be
be
encumbered.
invoiced in September. Okay?
Oh, so we have to have done it.
No, just
No, just the paper.
do the paperwork. Do your PO in September.
No, that's enough.
It's all,
We're good.
did you take care of that, Ms. Mayor?
it's not September anymore.
Okay, any other questions from Mr. Johnson?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir. Chief, police report, anything you want to share with us?
No, it's all in the report that you have in your back.
Councilman Jones?
My question, are we fully staffed? I know that last time, before we had went into the budget cycle, we had an officer that left us, and I was wondering, was a replacement brought on, or being brought on?
No, so we talked about that in the last council meeting. I think Councilman Rowland asked about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait. We're now into October, and now we just put that ad in the paper, so we're going to.
You put the ad in the paper for that
Well,
one
it's
officer?
on our website. Yeah, one officer. Yes.
Just for clarification, your report wasn't included in our packet, so
Really?
could you just be sure we have it
Absolutely.
at the next meeting?
I'm not sure why it's not in there.
And second piece, again, because we have people, we have a policy, right? And so, Chapter 9 in personnel in our city ordinances, when we talk about employment regulations,
Okay.
the police department is not separate in how they're processed. Whether we have a position budgeted is different from the actual employment process. And so, Section 9.201, criteria for requirement for employment by the city.
Okay.
All we're saying is that we follow these 6 things that is in our document.
Okay.
Number 1 says a vacancy in the city table of organizations have been declared by city council. And so all I'm simply saying is that if you're looking for a position, that you as the department head give, it says in this, it has policies, it has procedures on how it needs to be done. As a department head, you would give the mayor in writing, we need to fill 1 officer. These are what we needed to be filled. The mayor would then bring it forth to city council for us to declare the position vacant. So hopefully we just follow this process. And it's not us getting in the process, it identifies everything on our city ordinances that's on the website. So hopefully next time we can go through that.
Okay.
The second thing is homecoming is this month.
Right.
What's the game plan? What is the city's what is the city's plan of action for homecoming? And then third, I want to commend you on helping with National Night U and the police department and all the city staff because I think the citizens of the community really liked participating in the National Night Out. So.
Okay. On the homecoming, I actually contacted the college. I've reached out to the chief. He and I sat down a couple, maybe a month ago. I advised him what our plan would be and advised him that we had new, we've acquired some radios that would bring the communication together. That's because that was what was kind of like it. I talked to Miss Tessie on last Thursday. She was supposed to get a man named Frank to get in touch with me. I've not heard from him. Whatever happens with this process, we'll continue to try to reach them, or whatever happens with this process. We've already set up a plan for the people that we'll have working that day, the times, the schedule, and how many people. Because our main concern is to try and keep the city safe and try and keep the traffic down. And that a lot of that pertains to traffic going onto the campus and then taking money at a certain point, which is what bogs down this traffic. And our deal is not to let that happen this year.
The gentleman's name is Frank Torres?
Yes.
All right, I'll make sure that Frank Torres give you
Mr. Torres, have Mr. Torres.
Could you do us a favor and just kind of, once you have that plan actually developed and communicated, can you shoot us out like an email identifying, could you identify the issues?
Mm-hmm.
Could you send us maybe an email that identifies what the city's going to do to address those issues? Just for the standpoint as far as if citizens ask how we're going to, what is the city's plan to handle the traffic, we can say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
Yeah, communication, because I think last year when we changed some of the, like no parking and those types of things, it was communication. We want people to have the facts and also have the point of contact, a number or something that we can also refer them to.
Okay. We'll get that to you this week.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Ordinance violations. Officer White, you have an update?
Council, each handout, each one of you have a sheet of my updated code violations. This is just a continuous from last council meeting.
And those total, I think last count I had, it was closing in on 110-day notices that had gone out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That number sounds correct, but I'm still in the process of sending out more
Right.
each week as each week.
And do you have a number on the citations?
At this day, this is on the sheet here that I have, my updated report is 10 more, but I haven't completed my list yet, so it's gonna be probably added to that.
Okay.
Yes, Councilman.
So how many hours is allotted for you to be able to keep up with these, the code violations?
Right now, I'm averaging at least 2 good days a week on this because of my other duties, 2 days in the courtroom and my other patrol duties, but a good 2 days on the week, out the week on it.
It was told to us that you actually spend less time patrolling.
Well, on certain days,
That you are no longer going to be patrolled.
Right.
well, I do patrol some days and 2 days I'm allowed in the courtroom for my warrant patrol and my courtroom, but I do still patrol and answer calls certain days, but I do averaging 2 good days to work on my code.
Mary Ellen, what can we do about, I mean, because we spent money to send Officer White to get training and everything on code violations, and we were under the impression that besides court is what he was going to be doing, and so if he's going to have to patrol, what have you, then how does he go about getting all these different jobs done?
Well, I think that's something we really need to, as chief comes back in, to have him, because he reports to chief directly as a sworn officer and that sort of thing, so, yes, Councilman.
Again, in along the lines of what we just were talking about, this list and the 100 citations that you have done since however long, I would also, I guess, do we need to find out, like, what is our capacity?
Capacity.
Meaning, can we process, like, this list is a new list. You're going through, the mayor said they're gonna be coming to court this month.
Yes.
Is our goal for Officer White to be doing code violations majority of the time on his shift?
That is what we were told months
We
ago.
budgeted 50. We budgeted half court and half court and half this. And
It's
so
going to be, it was code enforcement, and then it was
Court.
what it does for the municipal court. I mean, nothing like that, patrol. That was my understanding. That we were pulling them away from patrolling, but that way we didn't have to give the $40,000 to the person who's going to be doing the administrative work, so we pulled him out to do it full time, so he can do the administrative, the paperwork side, whatever it entails.
And that will be, as Councilman Randall brings that up, Ms. Herndon, who's been volunteering for that, said that she'll wrap up what she has in there, but she has personally been the one typing up and generating and mailing these citations. So we'll have to find out how best to address that. Here's Chief. Now you all
you
have
said
some
she's
questions
wrapping
for
up.
him. Well, the ones that she's been working on, the pictures that her and Officer White have taken, she's finishing sending out those either citations or 10-day notices. But she's no
She's not
longer,
doing it
she's not gonna be volunteering for that.
Okay. So we're just gonna, so Officer White is gonna be doing what he was supposed to be originally doing.
Also, I will continue to do, excuse me,
Chief Solomon, you wanna-
Councilman Gona, I will continue to do what I've been doing.
Okay.
Ms. Hearn has been helping out along with the young lady that she has with her, but I don't know what you guys think, what you've been told. I'm operating this the best I can. We have a lot of code violations out there, And the time that I'm allowed, it takes a lot of time to go out there and contact people. I'm not just sending letters. I'm contacting them one-on-one and talking with them. So I talk with more people than I've sent out letters. And these people are getting a better response than I'm sending out letters. Although I'm sending out letters, Ms. Herning is mailing them out, but we're working as a team. So, you know, I just want you guys to know.
Thank you also.
Yes, thank
We
you.
wanted to take you away from patrol so you could
Well, I would welcome that. But
spend more time.
Well, Chief
Well, that's
stepped
already-
in, y'all were asking about Chief.
That's already happened.
Yes.
Take it away from patrol.
Huh?
It's already happened.
He said,
But I think Officer White's been doing a good job on contacting people.
Oh, yeah.
That comes to, it's more about getting people to comply
Right.
with what's going on. And we're getting more and more people who are calling about the issues they're having and the issues they see around town. And so it's allowing us to make more contact.
Right.
And I know what's Ms. Herndon's been taking some pictures and things for you, or what's your,
But she also was mailing the letters out. That's what I've been making, actually making contact. And
Right.
We're not questioning, you know, his job, and we think he's doing an outstanding job.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing we're saying is that it was brought to us in our budget cycle to pay somebody else to do some of the stuff that he was already doing. So in the effort, so we didn't have to hire this extra person, we were going to take him away from some of his other responsibilities so he could take care of those things, so we didn't have to bring somebody else. We're not saying he wasn't doing a good
oh,
job.
I understand that. And as you know, we have to delegate some responsibilities. We have a young lady that we've hired between the court and the PD, and she's with us on Thursdays. A lot of those
Right.
things can also
Right.
go to her to do
Absolutely.
some of those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Right, absolutely.
So do you have
Anything
a
else?
camera?
yes, yes, I do.
Any other questions?
Chief,
Yes.
I know this is irrelevant, but again, I think as council, we need to know of all incidents that are related in death in our city. We need to get it, we should know.
What do you have there? You have
Says person was deceased in an accident, was it in the city?
it was in the city.
Right.
When you say know about those, we discussed that, and we talked about in case of, like, if we had a shooting or something of that nature. That's something that we're investigating on an accident scene. We're gonna have to come to
Let's
a
come to
point of what we see as a notification factor from that standpoint, council.
Yes, sir. I mean, I think we need to know it. We don't need to know, we need to know I say everything and not everything, meaning every burglary. I'm thinking that any person who's deceased in the city, city council needs to be notified. And whether it's a rollover, whether it's
we include natural deaths and natural
any
DOAs that are happening at people's houses.
any person who's deceased by any means necessary in the city of Prairie View.
Well, that's
Not
it.
at that, and again, the discretion and the example you've given and other examples, it's not about at the moment, we're just
Right.
saying we should be updated. We should know that somebody has been deceased in the city, and you've done it timely. So I'm not saying it needs to be done, we need to be notified in the first hour or anything. I'm just saying in general.
But you have
If
to
we
understand too, when we're getting into natural DOAs, Councilman, you're starting to talk about getting into people's private lives and into their medical, into their
No,
medical
I didn't
lives
say-
and things
no,
of that
no,
nature.
no, no, no.
We're
I
asking
didn't
for every
say-
death.
Again, you said it. I said we needed to know about every death. If a person just dies in the city, the same thing you would have to put in a newspaper, the same thing that any public information that again, I don't need to know all the causes. I just need to know that the person was deceased in the city, and so we can move on. If someone asks us, did you know why? If I didn't know a person died on September 29th. Not nothing due to any violence, but again, the information is pertinent and important to us moving forward. Again, when citizens ask us a question, just like Dr. Brown, if she said something happened on University Drive, somebody was wheeled out in an ambulance, and somebody died, because I need to be able to inform her about the information, like, yes, something happened, but you're okay. It's not nothing about violence or anything to communicate to the citizen. I think we deserve that. But again, we don't need to know all the other.
Well, in this case, we're talking about an accident, and so that's something we're gonna have to talk about that further. That's not something we're gonna be able to decide, because as police chief, I have to figure out what it is and what type of information that I want to give out to the public as well.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it now.
Did we ever get a chance to look at the ordinance, the noise ordinance, the situation over in Pine Island with the house party toward the $5?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Okay.
We have an ordinance now that needs to come before you, come before council, that the city attorney just finished. And that ordinance, it goes a little bit deeper into what we have right now. Right now, what we have is a noise ordinance.
Right.
And that's loud music.
Right.
This ordinance puts some more meat in it to where we can regulate some of the things that are going on within the neighborhoods.
And that's on item 10 for tonight, Chief. So we'll be getting to it.
Well, do you have the ordinance with you?
Yeah.
Well, that's an ordinance, you got the ordinance that's gonna be going before you guys tonight. But it is an ordinance that we had the city attorney, we finished it up, we put it, we sent it to the attorney, they took a look at it, and they sent it back. So what that ordinance does, it not only deals with just the loud music, it deals with everything that's going on outside and people up and down the streets inside the neighborhoods after a certain time of the night.
And what should we tell residents over there that call and say that their driveway is blocked, people are parking in their yards? Can they just call the tow truck?
Yes, ma'am. Anytime your private driveway is blocked, that's a private tow anyway. That's not something we can do, have someone towed out of your, off of your private property. That's something they're gonna have to do. But when they call us, we can advise them of that.
Okay.
Chief, there were, a few years ago, 5, 6 years ago, something like that, somewhere around 5 years ago, there were, give or take, about 4 murders in the city of Prairie. And not once, while I sat in the city council meeting, at every meeting, was the chief required to report on any of those deaths.
Actually, we received emails.
Yes, and it came from the mayor, since you want to talk.
And we're not, that's not an issue for us because things like that, when you're in a city this size, yes, residents want to know. I think our only deal is getting to where we are.
Yeah.
We're saying, okay, these are the things that we're going to report and when we're going to report them.
Sure.
So that's not an issue about council wanting to know. And a matter of fact, on some of those murders that we were talking about, we think that last week we got some stuff back from the coroner that we can start. We've got a guy who's already in jail, and now we can match up some of those shells that was used in some of the other murders. So we're making progress on those murders that you had 4 or 5 years ago.
Just for me, Chief, now I see both sides of the coin, but for me, like, whenever it's something urgent, like a murder or something, we talk. All I would like to know is, hey, a general statement, hey, this did take place, this did, I'm not a police officer, I don't try to be, I'm not trying to help the investigation, but if I need to answer a question like, hey, did somebody get killed in Brookside, I can say yes or no. That for me, but if somebody has, a heart attack in their home.
Yeah, and that's fair enough, and that's what I'm saying, that's all we need to come to, is what are we gonna be reporting?
Yeah, I think that's more,
and not maybe natural DOAs where we get those at people's houses and things of that nature.
Right.
Yeah, we just need to come to that point, it's not a matter of not reporting. And sometimes, when these things happen and we start looking at them the next morning, well, we get busy after that and then we don't get that down.
And also, to your defense, anytime there's been a tragic death, you have reached out with the
Yeah, I'll let you guys know, but yeah, we'll just we'll get that the criteria down on that.
Anything else for Officer White on ordinances?
I just want to say thank you. You continue to do a great job.
Did you guys see on there about the community celebration?
Yes.
On the 16th?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, moving of covered public works, city council reports. Councilman Rowland?
I'm going to be brief. Again, citizens, thank you for allowing me to serve. Again, we have Boy Scouts on the first and third Wednesday meeting in this building at 7 p.m. Participating National Night Out. We went to majority of the communities. hearing from citizens with other council members and the mayor. Also had the opportunity, Prairie Chamber of Commerce meets on the last Thursday. Been having meetings for the last month about the wastewater treatment facility as what was presented today. Had the opportunity to go to the NAACP's, the Texas NAACP 81st conference. That was in McKinney, Texas, where I represented not only by myself but this organization. Had the opportunity also have a panel at the Texas Association of African American Chamber of Commerce 30th conference. We took 3 students from Prairie University where we paid their way to the conference to engage around business innovation, business opportunities. Had the opportunity to moderate a panel with other elected officials, Mayor Mary Dennis of Live Oak, Mayor Michael Wolf of Hempstead, City Councilman, Mayor Derek Freeman of Port Arthur, City Councilman Cruz Shaw of San Antonio, and City Councilman Steve Mason from City Hill. And so again, talking about business opportunities, procurement, and opportunities for small minority businesses. Again, focusing on what we've been talking about. The key is making sure that when tax dollars in the city of Prairie View, that small business, small entrepreneurs that are local and small, that they have an opportunity to bid on some of the work. Also, we'll be going to TML tomorrow, where we'll be participating with the Texas Association of Black City Council members, and I also have been asked to serve on the resolutions committee that will meet during this conference. So again, thank you for allowing me to serve as we continue to work to move our city forward.
Good evening. I'll be even more brief. I just want to take a second. I just want to highlight the National Night Out. It was great to be able to hit most of the neighborhoods. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to hit them all because in a 2-hour window, trying to intermingle with the citizens and listen and have conversations, it just didn't allow me to hit all of the locations. But every location was very receptive and they were very conversational about the issues that they experience in their communities. I thought the fellowship was great, and I think those moments show the identity of Prairie View. They show the identity of our community, and so I think moving forward, I think it was a great build moving forward. As Chief, as he spoke on, don't hesitate to come out to the city celebration next Tuesday, October 16th, and support your Water Bulldogs. We have homecomings next week, so come out and support your Bulldogs. Thank y'all.
Mine will be even shorter. Last week I held a community meeting where we discussed the interlocal agreement to discuss what roads were county roads, so that way we could submit a plan going forward to Mr. Yancey Scott. So I will be doing that soon. And it's always a humbling honor and opportunity to learn and grow and serve the city of Prairie. Thank you.
Thank you for everybody coming out tonight. Glad to see you. I myself and Mayor